Nobody's.
Rolling?
Yeah, cheers, dude.
Cheers. Round 2.
Yeah, round 2, baby.
On the Joshua David Nobodyes podcast.
Mm-hmm. Dude, was that the first? No, it wasn't the first time I met you. I met you at Hap Hap. Was that the second time like we hung out, or did we hang out before?
No, I think the Hap Hap was my first time meeting you for sure. And then I kind of came over here definitely a few times before I
we podcasted?
Before I did the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember.
It feels like we've known each other for a lot longer, but in reality, it's been probably less than
2 years.
Yeah, less than 2 years for sure.
Yeah, and like you and Kiara weren't dating. You were just friends, like, because you know each other for ages. But
yeah, time's been flying.
Yeah. Yeah. So back to what we were saying though with the like music and shit. Yeah, that's how I feel, or I had felt, or continue to feel, I guess, is just like when I was doing only photo videos, like I was like, I need to be spending all my time doing this thing.
Right.
And so when I came to doing the podcast, I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't have time to be work on that. I need to be editing this person's video or whatever. And so it just always, I felt like when I worked on my podcast, I'm like, I don't really have time to do this, or I need to be doing these.
Right.
And then I would get burnt out. And so then I'm like, I don't have the energy to work on it.
I think that's the hard part about, I don't know if you would consider yourself, but I consider myself like super ADHD. So I think that's the hard part about being like ADHD plus like, I guess, a motivated super thinker. Like I just want to do everything. I want to try everything. And it gets to the point where like I have my hands in too many pots, and then I spread myself too thin to where I can't actually like improve or focus on one thing and like get it to where it needs to be. Like if I had all the time in the world, I would try every career in the world. I want to do everything, but unfortunately we only have 24 hours in a day. So we do so much. I mean, and we have to do the things that pay the bills and not the things that, we love to do. And obviously in an ideal world, you want to get the things you love to do to be able to pay your bills, but that takes, a lot of time and hard work for sure.
Well, and then I, with the whole doing what you love thing, I get so back and forth on that, because I do, like, I love this. Yeah. So I want this to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And so, but that takes a lot of work to get there. But I also, like, I love taking photos. But then sometimes when I'm trying to make that pay the bills, like it would burn me out on the thing.
Right.
Because I'm like, I'm doing all these different photos for other people. I'm having to, or video for other people. And I have to do, like when I was doing talking head shit for real estate agents, I'm like, dude, I just get so bored. And I'm like, and then I'm burning out, but I'm like, I do love making videos, but it's like, I want to make a music video, but then that's not paying the bills. So I mean, yeah, maybe if I got that specific thing to pay the bills, but then how long would that take? You know? So sometimes I think some people do better if it's not paying the bills. It's just, it's a hobby, but then you have to spend all the time working. So you only get a little bit of time to do that thing.
Yep. Like that's me. And, obviously my business, I own a vehicle wrap shop, and it's not that I like cars. I love cars. Cars are
Shout
cool.
out Rap World. I mean,
Yep. Shout out Sticker Status.
Hey, Sticker Status. I'm kidding. Rap World sucks.
It was just kind of random how I fell into that too. I never, like, growing up, I never was like, oh, I'm going to own a wrap shop. I always liked being an entrepreneur, and we talked about that a lot last time. But I think that's what I love. I love business. I love being an entrepreneur. I love, sales and networking and talking to people. But just kind of by a random turn, like, chain of events, that I ended up in the vinyl industry. And I wouldn't say that I necessarily love the vinyl industry, but it's the business now that's paying the bills. Obviously, like we talked about, music is definitely probably my number one thing that I love. Like if I could picture an ideal world, it would just be sitting in my room making beats and getting paid for my beats all day. Yeah. But, that's not the case quite yet. I'm not at Murda Beats or DJ Mustard's level yet. But
dude, I was looking up Mustard. Yeah. Just because I obviously hear him on songs for a long time, but I never really I'm like, dude, how did this guy land, like, it become such a big name?
Show up at the Super Bowl halftime show.
Right. And so I was looking at his history, and he was mainly he is his own artist, I think, and rapper and stuff, but he was making beats, and it was for some smaller time rappers. I can't remember their names. but people I didn't kind of know, but they're just not as big. But he was working on them when they were small time. So it's like, okay, he's collaborating with an artist, and then that artist gets big. So now his name, you know, so it's like a lot of his beats started to hit more mainstream, like at least ears.
Yeah.
And like of other artists, and like, oh, dude, this g's making some cool beats, and so he's surrounded in the scene for like years, and then I think he started really getting big when he started doing stuff with Tyga, and Tyga was just starting to pop.
Him and 50 Cent, you know,
and
it's like I think that's the way with a lot of producers is they kind of fly under the radar. Like you hear their producer tag, like Mustard on a Beat, everyone knows that tag, but no one can put a face to that name. They hear it. And they think about it, but
and he didn't even do that for a while,
right?
And it was like somebody else said that.
Yeah.
I forget what his name is, but some rapper did it on one of their songs, and then they liked it. And he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna put this on every song." I think that's pretty brilliant. You know?
Yeah, I think that's how. I think it was like even like Metro Boomin, like his most notable tag I think was Future that just said it like as he was just kind of ad-libbing before the track started.
Yeah.
So I think, those producer tags are just those kind of like ear candy that people really know.
Yeah.
But and then he shows up at, the halftime show with Kendrick. I mean,
because he's on one of the biggest songs right now.
Yeah, and that's like the most notable part of the whole song is when Kendrick just goes, Mustard! But I think it's cool that producers, when they finally get the recognition they deserve, I mean, regardless if they're getting the recognition or not, they're still getting paid.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
just
sure.
having that tag on there, they're making X amount of that song.
But I think that is smart because he has transcended just getting paid, by making sure that every person that hears a track is like, oh, this is a DJ Mustard track, by, stamping it like that. I think that's pretty smart.
It's cool to see him show up at the Super Bowl, though.
When I looked it up, I was like, wonder what his real name is. Do you know what his real name is?
I don't know.
Dijon
Mustard.
So good, dude.
That's funny.
That's funny. It didn't just come up out of nowhere.
I never would have known.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the Super Bowl?
Dude, I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was with a few friends watching the Super Bowl, and dude, everyone was like having a really good time, and it's just a lot of energy. And so
tough watch if you were a Chiefs fan, but
yeah. But I meant the halftime show, actually. I did. I mean, those football games, whatever. It was nice to see them lose, I guess. But I don't care that much about football.
No, same. I
like the halftime show. Like, everybody shits on every halftime show, it seems.
Has something to say.
And I liked... Like sometimes it feels like they're more involved. This one seemed more simple, but it was it was very clean and simple. Like the dance moves weren't super complex, but everything was in a line, simplicity, and then you could tell there's like a lot of meaning. Like everything was thought through.
Called Drake out in the middle of the show too. Drake and Taylor Swift took the biggest L's of the Super Bowl, I think.
Yeah, right.
They showed Taylor Swift on the big screen and everyone booed her.
Yeah, but dude, it was funny too because they were showing her a lot for a hot minute, like when she first started dating him. And I felt like the tide turned where like she brought in a lot of viewers, but then it was like, okay, we got to stop showing her too much because they barely showed her at all in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think they did. I think they showed her once.
Yeah, and they used to do it so much.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Do you know like what it would take to? Because you're at what, 25 now?
25.
Yeah. See, like, I was still chasing music I probably just started chasing music at 25.
Right.
I was like 23 when I moved to San Diego. So like, I just started trying to put together a band. But I mean, it was probably 25 till I got together a band and started playing and stuff. This fucking thing. I try to open it because it gets like hot in here if I have the door shut. But then that fan will go on. Just like, anyway, what was I say? So I was like 25 when I just started chasing music. But like, if you get your business to a point where you can sell it and live off the proceeds for a while, then you can like work on music full time.
Yeah.
Or do you have any like?
That's definitely the goal. It's just like I had a 50-50 business partner, and I actually just recently got him bought out in November. So it's just me up front now. So it's me, and then we've got 4 employees out in the shop that do all the physical wrapping of the cars, the tinting of the windows and stuff like that. But right now I'm just a one-man back-end show as far as design, sales, accounting, marketing, social media, customer service. And so that's where I definitely need some help. But the goal eventually is you know, to be able to delegate enough to like kind of duplicate myself to where I have a shop manager I can trust to close the deals. And that's one thing I struggle with is delegation, because, you know, I feel like I'm really good at sales. That's like one of my strongest things is just talking to people. And so I have a hard time with trusting other people to close the deals that I know I could close. Cause I'm like, what if they say the wrong thing or the customer doesn't like them enough and I lose the deal? But you know, that's just part of owning a business. So I have to be okay with delegating like that. But yeah, I mean, the goal eventually would be to get the shop to a point where I can stop in once or twice a week and not have to like worry about it and still be, you know, obviously getting paid and just having the shop kind of be self-sufficient in that sense. And then, yeah, I can really focus on, you know, the music and, you know, looking up to you. I'd love to be able to have my own podcast someday too, but it just comes back right now to the time. I mean, 90% of my time is spent at that shop, running that business. And I think a lot of the stress too doesn't allow me to get, we were talking about like the creative mindset. I feel like a lot of times when I'm trying to make music, I can't get into that creative mindset because there's just a lot of stress. I'm not trying to bitch about the stress that comes with owning a business. It's what I signed up for, but that's where my mind's at most of the time, is thinking about the business and what's going to come next on Monday, or what needs to happen tomorrow, or what I didn't get done today. And I just have this growing to-do list of things. But eventually, with proper delegation and such, I think I'll be able to get to that point. My next step's to hire like a graphic designer, because I do all of the designs for the wraps, the business cards, stuff like that. And that eats up a lot of my time, but that's something that I could easily, you know, delegate. Just finding the right people and you know.
That's so hard too, finding the right people probably.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have the installers we have on the shop, a really good team right now, but it's been hard to find like a good graphic designer. You've done a couple little video edits for us too, but that's one thing that would kind of take our business to the next level, is if we were posting like Instagram Reels daily or YouTube videos. We're really close to getting we do tutorials on our YouTube channel. We're really close to getting that channel monetized, but I just don't have the time to film and then edit and then, you know, keep up with everything else. So I think I just got to get better at delegating, find a good, you know, hungry young person to get in there and
a baby. Yeah, they have a second one. Do they have the second one? It's on the fridge, I think. Yeah, they had the second one.
I'll be next.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. How many? So yeah, you're gonna be a dad.
I am gonna be a dad soon. She's today, I think, 8 months pregnant.
Oh man, that's crazy.
April 11th is the due date. We will have a baby boy.
Yeah. What if she pops before the what is it, the baby shower?
The baby shower, yeah, right. I guess then it'll just be what do they call that then? Do they have like another shower after the baby's born?
I was gonna say celebration of life, but that's when people die.
All this stuff's new to me, like the whole, I don't know, the baby shower. And luckily, I guess we're not supposed to be involved much with like the planning of the baby shower. It's, you know, my mom and her sister kind of taking care of most of that. But that's going to be, you know, I'm talking about not having enough time to run the business. And now I'm adding
you're gonna have
a whole human life that I now have to also take care of. But
that might be like the kick you need to get that, you know, really focus on getting a person to run stuff. Cause you're like, dude, I want to spend more time with my kid. I want to spend more time, you know.
It's already, even though he's not here yet, it's already changed a lot of like things mentally for me. Like I've just tried to, like, you know, obviously we're not drinking because she can't drink right now, but I'm like, wow, I really want to start getting my ducks in a row. You know, obviously my crazy party days are kind of have to be over now a little bit for a little while, but you know, I think the whole life perspective will just change at that point to where like now my focus is on this child, right? And making sure he has a good life. Like now all the like, you know, silly little things that I stress about are like, just seem a lot less important, as you know, my number one goal is now to make sure that this human has a good life. But no, I mean, we're excited. I had a little sister growing up, so I won't be new to like the changing diapers and cleaning up.
Dude, I don't think I've ever changed a diaper.
No, never?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I had lots of little cousins and a little sister growing up, so it's, you know, not going to be new to me, but.
Dude, is it what, like, I don't. Is there like a crazy feeling, or are you just kind of like, yeah, I'm about to have a kid? Like it is.
You know, I think it hasn't like. I think once he's here and like we see him,
Yeah.
that'll be like the crazy feeling where we're like, whoa, like we just created this human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think now, like I think when we first found out, it didn't really kick in until we had our first appointment where we were able to listen to the heartbeat. When we first heard the heartbeat at our first appointment, that's where I got like that feeling of like, whoa, like we created life. But now it's just been, you know, just dealing with, you know, she's ready for the pregnancy to be over. She's a month away now, so she's just uncomfortable. Everything hurts and can't sleep. But yeah, I think once we see him and hold him, I think that's when it'll be like the whole, like everything will change, I think, at that point. But
that's so wild.
Right.
I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day and they were like, oh yeah, I was atheist, and then until I had a kid, and then I like changed my mind about God. And I'm just like, man, that big of a change. Just like, yeah, like we created this thing, like that's a mirror, you know, like, and it is just crazy how certain people change. And I mean, watching like Ivy and Kevin, for example, with their first kid, it's just like, I mean, me and Ivy's like just partied all the time, and you know, just. Like I don't think that I party as much now, although I haven't been drinking 75 hours. So, but I definitely probably party more than the average like dad.
Yeah.
And so it is interesting to see just her just like, oh no, I mean, she's so about her baby now. You know, she's like, I can't even work with her. She's like, I gotta go check on Oakley. Yep. And she's just like, I miss her. That's and I'm like, dude, she's right over there.
Yeah. That's how it's been now. I mean, even just going out, like I used to go out like religiously every weekend. I'd be at the bars with my boys, and like she would come with us too. But like, you know, as soon as we found out she's pregnant and she can't drink, I haven't been downtown with the boys like since we found out she was pregnant. And I think part of that's just like, you know, I don't want to go out and party and drink while she can't. And obviously once the baby's old enough, I'm sure we'll have our nights and go to the bars again. But yeah, I definitely you know, those weekends of staying up for 2 days in a row or probably in the past now and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think priorities just shift a lot, you know, and I really want to make sure that we are good parents. I mean, I had, obviously I didn't have my dad growing up, but my mom was really great at, you know, giving us everything we needed. And just want to make sure that we can do that as well. And
I feel like finding that balance where, you know, especially when you have friends, you know, that can watch your baby or, you know, whatever, it's just like, oh yeah, you can take a night out, you know, and they can.
And my mom's super excited to be a grandmother. Like I have an older sister and she was relying on her to have babies, but unfortunately my older sister went through a divorce. So now she was like, all right, well, now we're looking at you, Ryan. And so she's like, oh, I can't wait to babysit. And she's already buying all the baby clothes. And
that's cool.
Yeah, she'll be a great babysitter for sure.
Yeah, because I know Ivy's mom she just comes over to their house and stays the night.
Yeah,
like when they want to go out or do whatever. And she's like, yeah, even though we come home, my mom still likes to stay over, so like we don't have to worry about it when we get home.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So
we were talking about too. We might want to start a vlogging YouTube channel when the baby's born. We were talking about it this morning. Our first video would be we had a baby, like the title, whatever. And I want it to be kind of like comedic vlog style. Like basically, I think the first shot would be us walking out of the hospital with this baby and just being like, well, what do we do with this thing now? You know?
Yeah.
And I think we want to start a YouTube vlog channel of some sort. And just kind of show our adventures of being parents and figuring it out as we go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dude, YouTube, like that kind of shit. I mean, speaking of going back to like figuring out ways to do music for a living, that kind of shit can end up paying your bills. So it's like, okay, well now I'm vlogging, you know, I'm vlogging our life and now it's paying the bills. And so now I can afford to pay somebody to manage the business and now I can work on music, so, you know, et cetera. Right. Like if you have those multiple streams of income, right?
Well, yeah. And that's the thing about like vlogging like that is it's not requiring us to do anything extra besides hold a camera. And if we get to the point where we can pay a video editor to edit our vlogs, literally all we're doing is just living our normal life as we would, you know, having a camera there, here and there, and then sending the footage off and just.
Yeah. I think there's like David for a hot second was hiring somebody from the Philippines. It's only like $200 a week.
Man, I've had a few logos designed from like guys on Fiverr.
Yeah.
Like $20 done in like a couple days. And
yeah.
just makes it super easy. But
yeah, that's still a level I want to get to. Because I'm like, even at $200 a week right now, I'm like, I can't.
Right.
I'm gonna let him out. Yeah, go. Yeah, but if you guys do, I was gonna ask you anyway. I was like, I don't know if other people are like allowed to go when you have a baby, but if you want somebody to hold the camera while you guys are working on, I mean, I won't be like this, but if you want something for like even just coming out the room or whatever, I'm happy to like film whatever for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Just,
we're kind of thinking about. She was talking about that. I think some hospitals allow, you can film in there. I guess she said some don't because of like liability. I guess they mess something up, but
yeah, I am happy to even just be there too. It's exciting.
100%. A lot of big changes coming.
Yeah, it is wild. Like when you think about, I think the biggest time consumption for me with the podcast was like doing all the editing and stuff myself. Like, because like this stuff, like if we were just to kick it anyway, we'd have all these conversations and we would kick it anyway, right?
Yep.
So it's not really taking any more of my time. Mm-hmm. The conversation, it's like taking the video and uploading it, and then like I said before, when I was doing 10 hours of editing and stuff. So if I can have somebody else doing that editing, it's just like, I could easily do 2 to 3 podcasts a week.
Right.
But getting to those points is still, there's always these hurdles to get over, whether it's like paying, like you said, paying the video editor or, and it's what, like I was thinking with the business, it's like when you're spending 90% of your time in the business, it's hard to work on the business, but it's hard to take the time to work on the business. Like,
you're saying that, like that saying, what did you say? You're working.
You gotta work on the business, not in the business. If all you're doing is working in the business, you never have time to work on the business. And on is like the growth factors. I need to spend time vetting and getting somebody to do these things for me and then training them.
Yep.
But if you're spending 100% of your time in the business, you don't have time to do that. But by doing that, if you take the time to do that, that actually frees up time in the long run.
Right.
And those are those things that people you get into the routine of only working in the business. Yep. And then you can't see like the forest for the trees or whatever.
Yeah. See, that's where like I have all these great ideas of like, YouTube videos we want to shoot and like our online sticker store. Like we have an online sticker store and I want to like expand it. But yeah, I'm too busy showing up working in the business every day and printing stuff and designing stuff. And but yeah, I guess all things take time. Sometimes I forget too that like we're only in our 6th year of business now, which is a long time, but at the same time, I look at these other like massive businesses. I'm like, they've been around for 30 to 40 years, and we're on year 6 now. So sometimes I think I get a little too impatient with things, and I do tend to be very impatient. Like I want things now, I want them fast. But sometimes I have to remember that I'm like, dude, I'm 25. Like if I live, let's say theoretically, I live to 100, which hopefully not, but I mean, maybe if I'm great in good health. But if I live to 100, I still have 3 more lifetimes to live.
Yeah.
And I think, but
I think about that a lot. And the way that I kind of look at my life though, because my childhood it's not to say it was all bad, but there's a lot of my childhood was just like, that wasn't life, And so I like to think of me really starting to live at age 23. Like I was miserable from 18 to 23. Like I said, it's not all bad. I had some good times, but in general, it's just like I didn't start living. I didn't start like that's when I left religion. That's when I like really started like chasing things and doing passions and like starting to live.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I've only been, if I count now, I've only been living 16 years. Like truly like kind of living. Yeah. And so then if I live to say 100, well now I still have, like I can still say I only have. Right. I'm only a quarter of the way there. And maybe that's just like stretching
that's a good perspective
definitions, but because sometimes it's like you're hitting almost 40, you're like, oh fuck, my life's almost over. And a lot of people think, oh well, by 50, I won't be able to do anything. It's just like, dude, no, I'm working on staying healthy, staying active, staying like.
Well, and I think too, along with that, like I think I think the past like 5 years of my life, I've not been giving everything like 100%. And I think part of that now is finding out I have a baby on the way. I've been trying to get like I said, a lot of my ducks in a row. I've been trying to quit like a lot of addictions and really focus on, like I've been growing and getting more successful over the past 5 years, but I've also been doing a lot of like fucking off, know? And so I've really tried to, and obviously you can't be like strict 100% of the time. You got to enjoy life too.
Yeah.
But I think there's been a lot of things in my life that have been holding me back from, like when we found out, we're having a baby, we both quit smoking weed, and I haven't, in a couple months now. And that's been like a big change for me, like a lot of brain fog gone, a lot more motivated, and a lot more like just not a lot less lazy for sure.
I'm so lazy when I smoke.
It's hard, man. And I think, there is such thing. I consider myself a functioning stoner. Like I would smoke every day, all day. I'd have my pen and I'd go to work and still get stuff done. But I think it just, I think when people say that they're a functioning stoner, I think it is just an excuse. I think you can be a functioning stoner. I mean, look at like Snoop Dogg, Wiz Khalifa. They're multimillionaires and they've been high their entire lives. Yeah. But that being said, if you do quit smoking, you will have more motivation. You'll be less lazy. Yeah. You'll be, less complacent.
Yeah, I feel like with those, I mean, there are those types, but you have to really know if you're that type or not. For sure. But if you can, and the only way to know too is to try both. So if you're trying no weed and you're finding you're getting more done, well, there's your answer, right? But if you're doing no weed and you're finding you can't get anything done, and the only way to is weed, then by all means, that works for you.
I think that's a bad comparison with like Snoop Dogg and Wiz, because their career is to be in a creative space where like it's been proven that like drinking and smoking can put you into more of a creative mindset. Like those guys just have to get high, go to the studio and make music.
Right,
like, if that was my job, but I'm showing up to work, crunching numbers, talking to people, sending out emails, like just being baked while I'm trying to do all that just does not make it good. And I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to say I'm never going to smoke again. Like for sure, like on the weekends, like I'm sure we can indulge a little bit, but I know you're doing 75 hard without, drinking and such. And
it's good to take breaks, that's for sure.
Yeah. You got to enjoy life a little bit. I am on 1 week of no vaping today. It's been 7 days since I've been using the vape. And that's something that I got my first vape when I was 12 years old.
That's
I've
crazy.
Literally been vaping for like 13 years now.
Yeah. That's crazy. You started when vapes were already popular. It wasn't cigarettes.
No, yeah. I think the first vape I got, and I don't know if I told this story the last time I was on your podcast, but I was in 8th grade. And I had to walk over to the high school for math class because I was kind of a nerd and like completed all the math at our middle school, whatever, woo woo. And the seniors that I was taking math with as an 8th grader were 18, and they had the little vapes that looked like dab pens back in the day. And they got me one and I brought it to school, and me and all my friends were like, just, doing smoke tricks, blowing O's in the locker room. And someone ratted us out. And when I was in 8th grade, which I was either 12 or 13 at the time, I got 17 of my 17 kids from my class suspended from school. Granted, I grew up in Fruitland, a tiny school, so there was like 80 kids in my class. So I got like 20% of my class suspended when I was in 8th grade.
So you were really popular.
Right. No, and I was everyone's friend. Like I never had enemies. I was nice. I also grew up
Mormon. Even after that?
Grew up more. Yeah. I mean, there was like a moment where like a few of my really close friends were like, dude, my mom said I can't hang out with you anymore. Like if you're a bad influence. And that all went away after, whatever. It was just a vape. But yeah, it's been hard. I mean, but now without the vaping, the first few days were definitely hard. Like I was angry and just like raging and just everything was just pissing me off. But it's gotten better now and it's nice. I've felt a lot less anxiety without that like pending urge to just like need nicotine all the time.
Yeah.
And so I've definitely felt like I've been able to like focus and be more present. Because that's what I've been trying to figure out is like my brain, I don't feel like I used to. Like I feel like there's a brain fog. And I've been listening to a lot of Andrew Huberman podcasts lately, which I enjoy listening to his stuff sometimes. It can get kind of hard when it's just like 3 hours of like scientific jargon.
Yeah.
But I listened to one called, I don't remember what the title of it, something like Mastering Dopamine. And basically he's saying that all like of our dopamine systems are just bombed because we have these constant like hits of social media, vaping, drinking, whatever it is. and we're, our brains aren't meant to be having like those constant flows of dopamine. And so that's where I really that's what kind of inspired me to stop using nicotine. Is that podcast specifically. But yeah, so the past week I've been, no nicotine, and
so you're feeling good now?
Feeling a lot better about it. Yeah. Yeah. We did just have a cigar before this podcast.
Yeah, that's true. Huh?
But I was saying, I think even with like quitting vaping, it makes that cigar more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like
rewarding, maybe?
Yeah, more rewarding, where it's like before cigars were just like, oh, I'm just having more nicotine. But it's like, okay, I haven't had nicotine all week. We're going to go have a little cigar, and it doesn't make me crave the vape again. It's like, oh, we just enjoyed like a nice cigar,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard, man.
Yeah.
The addiction stuff. But wherever I was going with that is, yeah, like I said, the last 5 years, I feel like I've just been kind of half in, half out. But now I'm really trying to kind of dial stuff in.
Yeah.
Sure.
It is nice that you obviously hustled your ass off when you started the business and like getting it going. So it's like you were able to coast, but you still have, an operating business, so now you can crank up the dial, and, you, like you said, you took over the business. So you have the whole thing to yourself now. So yeah, like that takes time, you have all the load, but eventually, you get somebody else helping you and stuff, and now they're a paid employee instead of splitting everything with them, you know, or whatever.
Well, and I think that'll really take us to the next level because, my old business partner, and I doubt he would ever listen to this podcast, but, he was great and everything, but he just, he didn't really pull his weight, and he had a lot of difficulties with communication and management.
Yeah.
And so it was me and him and then our 4 employees. And the number one problem I faced was just, like keeping our employees happy. Like every other week, someone was threatening to quit because of something he said or the way they talked to them. And so I had just kind of gotten fed up and felt like we were basically going to lose our whole team. Like everyone was just going to quit, and then we'd be left with no one. And so we toyed with the idea of selling the business as a whole, him and I. And then I was like, you know what if I just buy him out? Because my business partner is also about twice my age. So I was like, I've got plenty more gas in the tank. So we, crunched some numbers, came up with a deal, and both parties, and ended on good terms. He got his money, and I think it's kind of a win-win situation for sure.
So it's just like you're in that period now where you're just kind of taking over, or like figuring, how to run a solo.
Yeah.
Right.
And I didn't feel like it would be that big of a change as far as my workload, because he really didn't do a whole lot, but it definitely has been like the past couple months have been like 5 days of 12-hour days, like every day. But I think that'll definitely change, especially when we have the baby. I'm going to have to be home a lot more. So I'm not going to be able to be there 12 hours a day every day. So I'm going to kind of be forced to figure out how to kind of delegate. And do
get your profile up on Indeed or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really know how I've never hired anybody. I don't know how you like find like an operations guy or
we have a lot of people that are always wanting to, we have a lot of people come by and bring by resumes and such. I think really what I want to do is just find someone young, smart, and driven that I can kind of just, like I said, duplicate myself, like just basically copy myself to do all the kind of things that I do. So sometimes it's harder to teach an old dog new tricks rather than just hire a young guy out of college that's just ready to learn something and just teach him everything I know, basically. But,
that makes sense. Fuck, dude. I think about that with if I ever hire someone locally, just what that looks like. I mean, there's so much shit that I feel like I would love to have somebody else do that I feel like it just eats up my time. But, and we were talking about like hiring out for video editing, and in some ways that's cheaper. But then I'm like, I have to have a lot of this back and forth. What if I don't like this? And then, so sometimes having somebody in-house is just easier to like work with. And then I could have them being like a multifaceted person, not just editing, but like, oh, you do this,
upload
you do
the
this.
videos too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But to get to the level to be able to afford to pay somebody that's
the hard part.
And
dude, I gotta pee.
Yeah, let's take a pee break.
Not an iced coffee. I guess ice.
Oh no, I love iced coffee.
Ice is different than room temperature coffee.
Yeah, so it's like it needs to be like super hot, and then once it goes lower, I'm like, fuck, I'm constantly hitting the microwave.
Yeah.
And then. But I love an iced coffee. But I don't really like it in winter. But
I'm with beers. I mean, no one likes a warm beer, but I need Ice cold
Love
beer.
them.
Me and my employees were talking about this the other day. If beer didn't get you, we talked about this too. If beer didn't get you drunk, would you still drink it? And I think
100%.
You said yes. I don't enjoy the taste of any alcohols. I don't think.
Really?
Like my answer was no. If beer didn't get me drunk, I'd be drinking Dr. Pepper because I love the taste of Dr. Pepper. But I think Bloody Marys is like the only alcohol that I actually enjoy, like the actual taste of. But I guess that's objective. Like some people do enjoy the taste of beer, but
it is like when I first started drinking, I was that way. You know, it's just like, man, the only reason I'm drinking this is to get drunk.
Yeah.
But I think over 15 years of drinking, now it's just like I've acquired that. Like I even miss tequila. Like I do miss how it makes me feel, but I'm like, fuck, man, I just miss that. Like the way it tastes, even though I still I like that.
Something about it.
There's something.
I do like, maybe I'm lying.
I don't know if it's associated with how it makes me feel right away or what, but.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I do like some whiskeys, but my liquor choice has always changed. I was a whiskey guy when I first started drinking, and then I one night got way too drunk on whiskey and couldn't taste or couldn't even like touch it anymore. And then I was a tequila guy for like 5-6 years probably. And then I don't know what happened, but last summer when we were camping, I had brought a bottle of tequila like I normally do, took one shot, and it just immediately made me throw up. And I like can't do tequila anymore. Really? I don't know what it is, and I'm back to whiskey now. But
okay, yeah. I wonder about, because I've never been ruined on anything, even though I've had it here and there. Like I've taken a shot of tequila when I'm hungover. Oh, I'm like I need to feel better, so let's just get it over with. And then sometimes like, but I've never actually thrown up. But I do go through phases. What were we shooting like back when we were partying a little bit?
I think tequila.
Was it tequila?
I think our last podcast we were drinking that cucumber jalapeno 1800 tequila.
And then we were drinking Surges.
Yeah.
Dude, we got fucked.
Dangerous. Yeah, we did. I think me and Kiara were talking about that this morning. I was like, man, the last time we went, I think once we started pushing like hour 2.5, I remember we were just chalked. Dude,
well, I'm trying to, so I have told myself, speaking of like, sometimes I'm like, fuck, dude, am I going to be as entertaining when I'm not drinking? You know, and there's that. I think there's a constant fear for me in general of that. And I feel it even in life. Like Cindy and I were talking about this morning. I was just like, fuck, I don't feel like I'm as exciting. You know, I feel like I'm a little more boring. Yeah. And I think you can be that, but it's like when you're so used to only being exciting from the drinking, then it's like you feel like you can't. And the same with like going on a date or something. You're like, oh, I need a couple shots to like loosen me up.
Right.
But you can actually, like in a perfect world, or like if you work on it, you can loosen up without alcohol. Yeah. You just have to practice getting over your anxiety and, you know, whatever, like your nervousness or whatever. And you can pump yourself up to have a fun time. And like when I bartend, I'm like, I try to focus on being high energy. Right. And I'm still can be really talkative and stuff, and I'm not drinking at all. Yeah. But I used to think, I was like, fuck, I'm always more fun when I'm a little drunk. I'm more talkative. And I still think that's true. But maybe I'm just getting better at it sober. But the problem is like there's always like, I always go over the line, and then hour 2.5 and we're fucking slurring, and you know, and I mean like that's fun at like to some levels, but I feel like for people who don't know you, you know, they just get like you just get annoyed with somebody who's just so fucking drunk.
It's like I know when like Joe Rogan has like Shane Gillis on, and they put down like 40 beers by the end of the podcast, they get a little wild. But
and I love those, and so I'm like I would like to do that sometimes, I think, because I enjoy the Protect Our Parks episodes so much. Yeah. And I like watching the progression of like how drunk they get and stuff. But it's like, I do feel like I'm very invested in those guys, you know, like I'm just like, man, it's fun to listen to these guys and they're a hoot together. Yep. So I think maybe at some point, you know, like I would love to have that, like, you know, at the podcast, have a group of people that like, we're just like, oh yeah, we do this a couple months and we do get trashed. It's like, if people don't like that, then they don't listen to that one because they know, oh, this one's about getting completely wasted. But I was getting wasted fucking every one. And then so it's like every podcast was just like kind of a drunk asshole.
Should start a series like the Belligerent Besties or something where you just fucking get wasted on it, or we get baked or whatever.
And I would like to get to a point where I can have a bigger room. I don't know when or how I would get that. It's like I can push 3 in here decently comfortably, I guess, but having 4, I wouldn't be able to. I don't think it's just space wise. But it would just be really nice to have here and there, like just a real fun one.
Yeah, it's just laid back,
being silly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have Ivy and Haley on together, I think, and that'll be like, because I enjoy there's something about when you have 2 friends on, like they just spitball off each other, and then it gets it's a lot of fun. And there's more energy, I think, with 3 people than 2, potentially,
Yeah.
But, I don't know. There's like all the shit to just like kind of learning. Yeah. But, who knows? Who was I showing? I was showing somebody this room, and they're like, that's all the bigger it is? And,
it probably does. Like when you're looking at it on the screen, it probably does seem like,
and I was like, it's super tiny, and it's like with that camera, I have to like have it really resting against the wall because it can't go any wider on my backup camera. And it's like, if you have the wrong lens, like you said, it's too tight. But if you see some of these other rooms, it's like the cameras are 3 feet behind them, so it's like there's so much space to work with. Same with like audio, even like sometimes that like how tight it is gets in the way, like the sounds bouncing and stuff.
Right.
That's why that mic always sounds a little weird.
Yeah.
But so at some point it'd be nice to have like a bigger room.
Big studio.
I don't know what I'll do. Like if I move somewhere else, like if I move to Austin or when.
Well, depending on where we move, maybe you can set up a big garage studio or something.
Yeah. Well, see, if I didn't live in my garage, I think I probably would.
It could be your studio right there.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we got to figure out where we're gonna move.
Yeah, are you
baby? But
so you've been looking, right?
Yeah, we, because right now I live with 3 guy roommates that I've basically grown up with, and it's been a great time. I've lived with them for basically the last like 6-7 years. But now that we're gonna have a baby, obviously, we're not gonna want my roommates coming home drunk at 2 a.m. falling down the stairs, and they're also not gonna want to hear a baby crying at 2 a.m. when they're trying to sleep. So we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do. We tried to buy a house at the beginning of this year, but I am self-employed, and self-employed taxes are just a nightmare. It's just a double-edged sword. Like you're supposed to write everything off so you don't have to pay a bunch of taxes at the end of the year. But then when you write everything off and you go to try to buy a car or a house, they're like, well, you don't have any money left over after all your expenses. Like, well, yeah. So it's kind of tricky. So I think maybe one more year we'll probably be able to buy. But I think for now we'll probably just rent another house for another year. And
would you still have a roommate if you rent somewhere, or are you like trying to adjust
I mean, our ideally no, but if it made sense, like my buddy Riley, he's said that he wouldn't care about a crying baby. He was more worried about waking the baby up when he comes home drunk. But I mean, I like what you do. Like you own your house and you have roommates paying rent, and I really like the idea of that. So if we did buy like a 4-bedroom house or something, I think we would be open to having, like, maybe if we were downstairs and we had one roommate upstairs or something like that. I think we'd definitely be open to it. I
was also curious. So like I wondered if ever I would. I mean, I've never even run this by her, but I was like, I wonder if I could ever live with Hannah and have her baby, and like if she, like, say, had the master, or if she had the certain section of the house, But I was like, I don't know if I could deal with crying baby. But I was like, oh, if you had a friend that had a baby, then it's like, oh, well, you both have babies. And then that way, like, you're both not partying.
right.
And you're both dealing with babies and shit. But I don't know. Yeah. That's a different trick. I've had friends who, like, they're married or they're dating, and then they have one other person living. I'm like, man, that has to be weird for the other person. Or maybe it's weird for them. Like, we're gonna be quiet and stuff. And
I think ideally, we want our own place that we can have, our room, a baby room, a studio where I can have my, because I like to play video games at night, and a lot of times that'll keep her up when I'm playing games till 2 a.m. So, our room, baby room, game/studio.
Yeah.
And then I think it'd be sweet. We'd definitely want to put an at-home gym as well.
Yeah.
So we can work out like in the garage or whatever. So
Right.
I don't have to deal with public gyms anymore. So
dude, oh yeah. Dude, say that thing you were saying about.
Well,
earlier.
I mean, I've always, when I was in high school, I was like really into like, you know, I wanted to do bodybuilding shows and stuff. And then,
oh really?
Yeah, senior year and junior year, like, I got super lean, super shredded, was like committed to counting calories and like wanted to do shows and stuff. And then life happens. You start drinking beer and you get happy and find out that McDonald's you can eat, you know, when you move out on your own. So it's tough, but and I think sometimes too, when you get into relationships, you get complacent and happy. And I hadn't been to the gym in like the last probably at least 5 months.
Yeah.
But the last week now, I think part of it has to do with stopping the nicotine. I've had more motivation. I've finally been back at the gym, but the gym we go to here in Boise is just, I don't know. I feel
Which one do you go?
I go to, well, it was formerly Axiom. Now it's Villa Sport Fitness. I think they just got bought out. It's on Park Center.
Okay.
Axiom Park Center.
I didn't know
basically. That's where I've gone there for like since I moved to Boise. But I just hate public gyms. People are just weird and stinky. Like I had an experience last week where this old man, there's a sauna, the door, and there's 4 of us in there, and this old man's sitting like on the furthest away from the door. He's probably like 60, and he has a towel wrapped around him. And when he gets up to leave the sauna and walk past us other 3 guys, he lowers his towel just enough so we can all see his ass cheeks as he walks by. And then as he goes out the door, pulls his towel back up. I'm like, what could have possibly been the purpose for that?
Yeah.
And then when I get out of the sauna, he's out in the locker room wearing only a jock strap, which first of all, I don't know what the purpose of wearing a jock strap in the gym would be.
Yeah.
And he's got his whole body covered in shaving cream, just shaving in the mirror, just standing there wearing his jock strap, which is whatever. Like I know, like we, you know, in the locker rooms, there's going to be like some level of nudity, but at least have like some semi-decency where you like at least try to cover up. Like I know, like when you walk from the shower to your locker room and you got to change, like that's fine, like whatever. If you got to be naked for 10 seconds, that's cool. But I feel like there's just some of those guys that are like just purposely trying to be naked as long as possible in that locker room, whether they're like, that's their secret kink is having other people look at their naked body or whatever. But and people are just like, some people have like no lack of personal space. Like I was in the sauna the other day and it gets pretty tight in there. Like usually I feel like it's common sense. Like if it looks full, like you'll just wait. This guy came next and sat next to me, and then his leg kept touching me in the sauna, which whatever, but he's all sweaty, you know, you're in the sun. I don't want to be touched by someone else. So it's just like, I don't know. I feel like
I don't even want to sit close to somebody.
No, exactly. I just feel like
do you like keep your eyes closed, or you like just trying to chill by yourself?
I typically, so when I'm in the sauna, I always have earphones in, and I'll typically just try to close my eyes and just sort of, because when I'm in the sauna, I try to get into like a state of meditation.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, just focusing on my breathing. But then there's always that guy that I have my headphones in, my ears closed, and he just tries to strike up a conversation with me.
Dude.
Which, and I'm a nice guy. I'm never going to like ignore someone. So then I got to take an earphone out and like talk to him. And then that just gives them the full go ahead to just talk to me the whole time.
Yeah.
Usually I sauna for like 15 to 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And
so yeah, get into that.
I feel like it's just a very, I don't know, like a personal time, kind of intimate, you know, like I'm just trying to relax and meditate. And I just feel like some people in there just don't have boundaries. And I feel like there's a lot of just weirdos in there that are just, you know, whatever.
Well, if you got a home gym, would you get a home sauna?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
dude,
yeah, the home sauna would be awesome.
I really want one because I don't like sauning and haven't really done it. Every time I've tried it, I'm like, fuck this. Yeah. But I know all the benefit, like it's just really good for you, right?
Yeah.
And so I would really love to start doing it, but like my gym doesn't have one, and if I pay for Axiom, I don't go because it's just like my gym's right there and it's like 20 minutes away to go to somewhere else. So I'm just like, I don't do it, but and I would like to buy one of those Costco ones. I just don't have the space. So it's one of those things I really need to figure out over the next couple of years, like how to get into it.
I think sauna and ice bath. I know you have an ice bath, which I don't do near enough. I'll do cold showers every once in a while to like wake me up in the morning. But I think sauna and ice bath, they've both just been scientifically proven to just be so beneficial. I don't remember what the exact percentage was that Andrew Huberman was talking about the other day, but it was like over 25, maybe 30%. Like if you sauna daily, you have a 30% less chance to die of cardiovascular disease, like heart disease. I'm like, man, because I already have like history of my, you know, in my family history of heart issues. So really want to stay on top of that. But yeah, I mean, just all around the sauna and the ice bath are just two of those things that just
I've heard the sauna's even more. I don't know if that's actually true, but yeah. I can't even. It's the same with like planes, except planes are longer, but it's just like, dude, you know, if somebody sits down, they put their headphones on, that means they don't want to be talked to.
Yeah,
like they're like, just that's a pretty good indicator. I feel like that should be like it's like a social rule.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, they don't want to be talked to. They have their headphones on. And like, so when and I understand if you need to grab someone's attention, you know, if it's like, hey, are you using this? You can still tap somebody, but it's just like, hey, take them off. I want to tell you a story. It's just like, no, that seems really weird to me.
Yep. That's one thing we do even at work too. A lot of us all wear headphones because a lot of times there's a lot of like people in and out of our shop too, where I'm just trying to like sit down and focus. So I'll put my earphones on and yeah, someone will come in and talk to me. Like obviously if it's an employee that needs to ask a question, that's fair. But we have friends that probably spend more time than they should at our shop, just kind of loitering, I guess, you know, and a lot of that comes from me just being too nice and not setting down rules. But we've got this one guy that hangs out a lot and I'll try to put my headphones in and he'll come in and just be like showing me TikToks and stuff. And I'm like, and I'll make it obvious. I'll be like, what? Like, obviously, I mean, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, when I'm at the gym, it's just everything, especially this week when I was doing the no nicotine, everyone at the gym was just like, oh my God, I couldn't. So yeah, home gym, sauna, that's kind of like the ideal. If I could just go like to the gym in my garage and then sauna and then upstairs to the studio, that's like, that seems like the ideal.
See, I don't mind going to the gym too much, but like my gym isn't super busy, you know, and I like being there outside of like myself or like outside of
there is something to say about like going to a public gym. There's almost like a sense of motivation. Like you're around other people that are working out. Like if the gym was in my own house, like I probably would work out less and maybe not as long. Maybe not, but I've never had a gym at home, so I don't know. But
dude, I like speaking of that, I have worked out with friends and that has been my favorite. It's just so hard to get on a schedule with people. And it was always like I worked out with my buddy Joe and his brother Sam for a while. This was when I was living at the apartment. So it felt like it took so long because it was like driving there and then we'd hit cardio until we all got there and then we'd go and work out and stuff. But man, it was so fun. Like, cause instead of sitting there in your headphones, it's just like, dude, just like pushing each other. Just like, dude, you got it. One more. Like, it's just like this camaraderie. And then in between sets, we're laughing, we're having a good time, we're making jokes and stuff. And like, I wanted to stay longer. I wanted to push harder. And I can't find that motivation just by myself. I'm like, yeah, I still try to push this hard, but like, I don't have anyone there like, no, you got it. Come on, I got you. You know?
Yeah, it definitely helps having like a friend or an accountability partner. Like my roommate Riley, last year we went on a really good run of working out for like almost a year straight together. But it's like, you know, you have those mornings where you wake up and you're like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym. And if it's just yourself, sometimes, you know, you won't go to the gym. But if you wake up at 6 a.m. to go to the gym and you know you have that friend that's going to be awake waiting for you to be at the gym, then you have to get up. You're like, I'm not going to let him down and he's not going to let me down. It's a lot easier to let yourself down than others, I think. So I think having an accountability partner for sure, even if they don't go to the gym with you, like you could have I've had people that know they have accountability friends in a different state that just text them, hey, did you make it to the gym today? Did you make it to the gym today? Yep, we both did. But yeah, I think it's a lot more motivating for sure.
Dude, speaking of the fucking terrible people at the gym, I was telling you earlier, but man, there's this guy. It's like you said about it's fine if you're like naked. I really don't have a problem with nudity. Like I don't mind getting naked in front of people. I grew up in locker rooms and like you shower. You dry off and shit. But like when it's some random fucking fat ass stranger, it's like I'm like, dude, I don't want to be hanging out. Like some people are like having a conversation, just like balls out. I'm like, dude, I don't want to be doing that. Like, put a towel on and then we can talk. And there was this fucking guy like just at the mirror. I don't know if he was shaving or brushing his teeth. I can't remember.
Probably all of it.
But just like super fat guy and just dick and balls hanging out. And it's just like, I don't like there's only one mirror. There's 3 sinks and you're standing, and I can't remember if he's on the left or the middle. The middle would piss me off even more. But like just standing there, and so it's just like, well, if I'm looking at the mirror, I'm gonna have to just stare at your junk.
Yep.
So I didn't even wash my hands after I pissed. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Next to you.
And I was just like, I don't know why that upsets me so much, but I'm just like, dude, it was just as easy for you to get out of the shower and go put your boxers on or a towel before you fucking go shave. I mean, yeah, do your shit. I don't care.
Yep.
I mean, normally I'm a person like, dude, do that at home, but maybe you don't have a home. I don't know.
Sure.
But dude, this guy, I went out to my car and then I realized I forgot my coat or something in the locker. I came back. This guy is just a pair of shorts walking out through the gym to go talk to somebody at the front desk about like some sort of problem in the bathroom. But like fucking shirt off, like belly out. I'm like, dude, what the fuck, bro? Like put your clothes on. Like, what are you doing?
I did see that at Axiom once. I saw this old guy come out in just his underwear to the drinking fountain, which is in a public area.
Yeah.
So it's quick. I mean, it's over in the corner, but still, I just feel like it's a common sense type of thing, you know, but
yeah,
unfortunately, a lot of people in this world don't have common sense.
Yeah. And I do get, I guess, like what I would consider social etiquette.
Yeah.
Other people have different views of what that is. Because like I was looking at somebody I follow on Facebook. They were complaining about somebody in a coffee shop having their dinger on their phone.
Oh,
so
yeah,
they're like, I was trying to work on my computer and I had my headphones, and this guy next to me at the table over just kept having ding, ding. It's so distracting. Like you're in a, you know, and I was just like, dude, that seems a little extreme.
Sure.
I'm like, you are in a public space.
Yeah.
People have conversations here. Like you can't expect somebody to be like completely silent. Like just because you're working in a coffee shop, which is a public, you're not in a library.
Right.
So then I thought he was too extreme, you know, as far as like but he was like, oh, you know, you're in this public spot. You should be more aware of like how your noise and stuff. And I was like, I think that's a little fine. But
there's just different levels to like myself. I think I'm like hyper social aware. Like I'm always thinking about like what effect I'm having on the environment around me.
Yeah.
Whether it's my sound, my sight, my smell, whatever it is. Like I'm always thinking, and I'm also, I think that comes from being like a people pleaser. Like I never want to piss anyone off, but there's some people that like, one of my pet peeves is speakerphone in public.
Yeah, that's
like,
weird.
Like if you're in the coffee shop on speakerphone, which, you know, whatever, but.
Yeah, but like, yeah, you could just have it regular.
Yeah, I think, but yeah, I'm always like, you know, thinking about like, oh, you know, what sort of effect am I having on the people around me? Or like another pet peeve is like in the grocery store, people that are walking down the aisle or in any public space walking and then just stop in the middle of the aisle. Yeah. And then I got to go like completely around them. Like,
or if they're blocking it. So you're like, pardon me. You know, they're like, I didn't.
We were at Pay It Brewing the other night and in front of the men's restroom, there was like a circle of like 6 women just standing in a circle in front of the men's restroom door. And so I kind of just walked up and like waited to see if anyone was going to move. And so finally I'm just like, excuse me. And they're like, oh, sorry. It's just like, you know.
Yeah, they're not aware at all.
I think it's just social awareness, which some people have and some people don't, unfortunately.
That's that's like a level of intelligence. It's like spatial intelligence. That I feel like I do a pretty good job. And I think it's partly like bartending and working in service. You learn like that intelligence you gather because there's a lot of moving parts. So, you know, you're aware of if somebody's walking behind you, you're in the way, that sort of stuff. And so I'll notice it sometimes with some people that just don't have it. Or like a new bartender, like the kid I bartend with, Aiden, his spatial intelligence is still pretty low. And I'm like, it'll probably just take him more time. But like, he's a big dude. He's fucking 6'6" and like thick, probably, I don't know, 250 to 300 pounds. But he's just like tall, you know, and like big. And so I'm like, dude, you need to learn to step like forward to the bar at all times, or at least always have in the peripherals if I'm moving this way or this way. I'm like, dude, behind, like, bro, move, you know, like I gotta squeeze around, like, because we're constantly moving back and forth together. Yeah. But he just like doesn't have that. I was just like taking up the whole area. Like, bro, you gotta slide forward, either stay up forward.
Get behind you.
Yeah. But then, like, if I work with Ivy, like, we know, like, spatial intelligence is very comfortable, so we work really well.
Chemistry,
you know, so like, if I'm walking, she'll innately move. You know, like, she just sees I'm coming, moves, or vice versa. You know, so it's just like allowing for these paths to cross. Yeah. And like you said, in the grocery store, it's like when somebody stops in the middle, it's like, dude, if you're going to stop, you move your car over and you stay to one side.
Right.
Of course people are going to be like, how do you not know that?
Yep. And I think, I don't know, part of that might come from like growing up, my stepdad was just like, he hated people, hated going in public. And I just watched him always just being angry when people were in his way or whatever. So I think part of that comes from like me just not wanting to make other people angry. But yeah, I feel like it's just, obviously it can be a growing trait. But,
I also think there's like there's also the things that in the other side of that is like, sometimes you're out and doing stuff in public and it's like, man, I shouldn't be so concerned about how other people are going to view me. You know, like if I've been at like in certain situations where I'm like, oh, I don't want to go over there. Oh, maybe it's in trouble. I should ask first. I'm like, dude, why don't you just go do the thing?
Right.
You know, and it's like, and like, well, what if somebody gets pissed off that I went?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of a good example. But like my sister dated this guy who was like polar opposite of like what we're talking about. Yeah. And he's just like, oh, I'll just jump on the fence, like go over there. Like I'm going to do this. And until somebody physically was like, hey, you cannot be here. He was just like, oh yeah, I'm just I do whatever. Like I do what I want. I'm going to achieve an outcome.
Yeah.
And who cares if other people care that I'm doing it? And so it did seem like he's more of a risk taker, more of a achieve something,
not a pushover kind of.
Yeah.
See, I'm the type of guy that like at the restaurant, I order my food and my food comes wrong. Unless it's like terribly wrong, I'm just gonna take it. I'm like too nervous to be like, oh, I don't want to be a pain. And like, even though that's their job as a, you know, I'm the consumer and that's their job as a waiter or chef or whatever is to make your food right. But if my food comes out and they gave me potatoes instead of fruit, or, you know, my steak was a little bit too well done, like I would never send my steak back and be like, oh, this is, you know, this was supposed to be medium rare and this is medium. I'm just eating the steak, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But then on the other hand, there are those people that this steak's like 10% too pink, like redo it, you know? I don't know what that is or what makes me that way, but
then like, it's like the people, you know, they say squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Have you heard that?
No.
It's kind of an annoying phrase because that is true, but then it's like, so the person who complains gets rewarded.
Right.
And I don't want to be the complainer.
Right.
You know, but they're the one who gets the grease if they're, you know, squeaking.
Fair,
so it's like, for example, at the bar, you know, I'm happy to go sit at a bar and patiently wait for the bartender to get to me.
Yeah.
Even if it's busy, you know, sometimes I'll like put my hand there, whatever, but I'm never a person like, hey, you know.
I was here before him.
But those kind of people get served first most times, you know, because they're that kind of person. They're like, hey, excuse me, you know, and they'll grab somebody's attention. And then that person who patiently waited gets pushed back in line because the person who's louder, being the squeaky wheel, gets their attention, then gets the stuff. So I don't personally want to be that person, but sometimes it does benefit in certain situations because they're like, yeah, I don't give a fuck what that other person thinks. I'm here to get my drink, so that's what I'm going to do. I thought about it on a plane. If I'm on the inside and I got to piss, I'll try my best to hold it.
So you don't have to ask them to get up.
But like at the end of the day, I'm like, dude, you sat there in uncomfortability just to make sure that two people didn't have to stand up. I was like, you're never going to see these people again.
Right.
And of course they know they're going to get up if somebody has to pee. Like, it's not that big a deal. Like, why don't you just say...
I like that example. I'd be the same way. I'd just try to hold it the whole time.
Oh, man. And I'm like, so you just sat in misery for 2 hours holding this piss when you could have just been like, hey, excuse me, got to pee.
Right.
And they're happy to do it. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I'm like, oh, I don't want to make them move and stuff. Yeah, it's weird.
Speaking of, I do have to pee again.
Pee break. I saw some Mark Norman bit. I don't know what I thought something about the dark, but he was talking about how he's like, lately, like porn is like coffee for me. Like I gotta have it I gotta do it every day. It doesn't do that much for me, and it has to be black. I thought that was funny. So speaking of, we were talking about how we were like on hour 2 or 2.5. So like I've been trying to keep mine under 2 hours. We do pretty good. Like they're hitting at the 2 hour mark.
Yeah.
Or because I'm like anything between an hour and 2 hour feels good. An hour feels like really quick. You know, like I'm just like, dude, we barely just like
starting to get into the flow.
Yeah, but like, man, when it gets to like 3 hours, I'm like, man, are people gonna listen this long? Like, it's just going and going. But when I had Ian on, that was the last day I drank, and I was like, yeah, so we're trying to keep it between an hour and 2 hours. We went like 3.5, but I was like, dude, I'm having fun.
Yep.
So it's one of those things, man. And I feel like it is easier to go longer when you're just drinking and having a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. This one would be 48. No, I'm going to put the solo one out 48. This will be 49. And then I got 50.
50th episode.
Yeah, so that'll be pretty crazy.
What are you going to do for your 50th episode?
I don't know. I don't even have somebody scheduled yet. But
no.
I got to get better at scheduling like ahead of time.
Yeah.
To get caught. Like that's what kind of sparked me doing a solo episode. Cause like, oh fuck, dude, I don't have anything scheduled. I don't have anything. I like to already have one filmed, ready to go before, and then already be filming another one. So it's like I don't have one in the hopper.
See, I think the solo ones would be cool. Like I was thinking about it, like someday if I ever start my podcast, like who would be my first episode? I'm like, maybe my first one would just be solo. Like just talk about like, catch everyone up on who you are. And
that's what I thought. I felt really good about it. Actually, I was like, man, I don't, like some of these things get hit here and there, but it's like if people are listening to my podcast, like they probably want to get to know more about.
It's like a journal. It's like a video. Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, this would be cool to talk about who I am and where I came from and stuff. So yeah, I was actually happy to do it. Felt good.
Yeah.
What would you do yours? If you do a podcast, do you have any specific like genre or any sort of?
And I think it would probably end up sort of being business oriented. Like in my head, I picture like me reaching out to because in my business, I get to meet a lot of other business owners, some of which are, very successful. So I kind of picture myself like interviewing and meeting with like other, big business owners and just kind of asking them about like how they got to where they're at and the struggles and things they went through and all that. So
you want a White Claw?
Yes.
Pregnant lady in the house.
I want a White Claw.
1 more month, right?
Yeah.
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 Dude, I'd love to. I was just telling him that if you guys have people there and you want, I would love to come when you have your baby. Yeah, and that's fair too. So I was just like, but I wanted you to know that
you can film us coming out of the hospital.
I would love to be there.
I was talking to him about our vlog idea. So, but yeah, I think if I did a podcast, I think I'd start out with giving like, each of my friends an episode and kind of just, sometimes I feel like I can't talk to people, but then I get in situations like, that is my strongest trait is I can just sit and talk to people for a long time. But I think it'd be business oriented, just kind of interview people and figure out how they got to where they're at and the struggles they've faced. And
dude, it's really good networking tool for business owners, I feel. I mean, it's just, you have, you have a skill set, you have a tradable skill set, it's just like any sort of business owner probably at some point will need some sort of logoing, branding on their cars or vehicles, or even like doing stickers, just tons of things that you're able to do. Yeah. And then you can trade them for whatever services they have, but then when you have somebody, and if they don't have a podcast, they still want to share their insights, but they don't have a format to do that.
Right.
So when you create that format to do it, then you give them that podcast. Now they can clip off that, like, oh yeah, I want to share this with my audience. I'll share this with my, I put this section on my website because this is what I'm about. And, whatever.
And I think people could learn things too. Another section of my life that I don't think we've really talked about on here is I have another side gig called the Idaho Crypto Group where I have a YouTube channel where I'll do like tutorials on like Bitcoin and crypto stuff, like simple trading, starting wallets, but we also do consulting. And so I think it'd be cool to get some like crypto gurus. I don't know. You got to be careful because like we were talking about earlier, that space gets really sketchy because a majority of people in the space are scammers or just creating.
How do I know you're not a scammer?
No, meme coins are pumped ups, right? A lot of the consulting we do, man, it's bad. It used to be, a lot of just like teaching people how to set up wallets, but lately it's been all like scam prevention and consulting of where I meet with someone at least once a week where we're just like talking to them about either setting up wallets or they got scammed. But lately, like this past year or so, it's been a majority of people that are getting scammed. The worst case that we saw was an older man. He was probably, I think he was like 65. And over the course of 2 years, he had sent some lady over $700,000 out of his 401k, basically his whole retirement. And she was trading it for him, right? And he had this connection with her online and she was trading it for him. And so he had sent about 700 grand and she had traded it up to like 4.5 million. And when he was finally ready to pull it out, she said, okay, you can pull your money out. You just need to send us the last chunk of money to pay the taxes on it, which was like another 200,000. And that's when he finally decided, he's like, you know what, this sounds a little sketchy. So he came in. Sure enough, this guy's 65. He's talking to this girl. He has a picture of her. She's like 25. Never video chatted her, never met her in person. He's talking to her on WhatsApp or Telegram. That's another thing. If you have elderly family that are talking to people on WhatsApp or Telegram, they're being scammed. But we've seen probably in the past year over 50 cases of people being scammed, anywhere from like a couple $1,000s up to that was the worst one we saw, where this guy sent basically his entire 401k to some chick that he met online because she convinced him that she was a trader and she was trading his money, and basically took him for 700 grand. And it's mostly been elderly men. I have had a couple of women come in, but it's been mostly. Do
they meet on like a dating platform or something?
Dating platforms, or even like they have all these Facebook, like fake Facebook and Instagram accounts now, where like you'll get these weird friend requests from like foreign girls that are like, hey, like, you know, they send you just these random generic messages. They'll add you on Facebook and be like, hey, how are you today? Like no one adds you on Facebook.
No hot girl is messaging you dudes. Like that doesn't happen.
Sorry. It's not your lucky day out of your whole life. But
people who are desperate for like attention are like, oh, wow.
That's the thing. I mean, you get a 70-year-old man and a girl sends him a nice pair of titties on a picture and says that she can trade him crypto for him. All of a sudden, he's just shelling out his bank account to him. And it's sad to see. And I wish that's part of the reason we do like the consulting that we do. But it's just like, that's part of the thing that gives crypto like a bad reputation. There are so many scammers and there are so many.
Well, it's like, so my sister got taken with one of those, and did another buddy of mine. And they were like, they met on Tinder, and then they're like, oh yeah, my dad owns this platform or this thing, you know. And so then she, like when I was asking her about, she's like, oh yeah, like I've made this much money. I was like, is it in your account? And she's like, yeah, like I can see it in my account. I was like, so it's in your bank account? She's like, no, it's in my trading account. I was like, what's the trading account? Is it one of the main ones? Like, is it Kraken? Is it? No, it's this new. I'm like, no. I was like, put it in your bank account and then we'll talk. And I was like, and then that's when it was like alarm bells.
They're getting super creative. We saw one a couple weeks ago where like whoever the scammers had basically created a fake coin, because anyone could go and make a coin on crypto. Like anyone can make a coin, give it whatever value they want to give it. They had made this fake coin and told this guy, you know, if you send us like I think he sent like $1,000, and they sent him this coin after like 2 months, and it looked like he had the app on his phone where he could see that he had this coin, and it was worth like $60,000 or whatever. And then by the time he wanted to withdraw it out, same thing. They wanted him to either pay the taxes or like the transfer fee, which would be like another $3,000, and then he could get his money out. And sure enough, when you look up this coin, it's just a completely fake coin. So they get very creative. But I always tell people, like, anything that seems too good to be true, like chances are no one's giving out free money. No one's like, if they're not.
Well, and a lot of them, it's just like, I feel like the promise is, do you want to get in on Bitcoin when it was still 10 cents?
Right.
You know, this is the new Bitcoin. Here's all the benefits of it. You will be getting in at this 10 cents a, you know, whatever per coin. And then when they see it going up, even if it is a real meme coin, it's still only going up because it's being pumped by all of these big numbers, and then the rug pull, right? So to know which is which, and that's why, like, when I was investing, it was like mainly Bitcoin, and I was just like, that's the one. I just have the most belief in it. You know, like I've done a ton of research on what it was, and I knew that there was no single person controlling it, you know, et cetera. But yeah, if I dive back in it all, I'll definitely be hitting you. And I don't know if you saw my buddy Gary's podcast.
Oh, Gilligan.
Yeah, Gilligan. He's super into
Gary was actually the first person I bought cryptocurrency from.
Okay, right.
Yeah. Back in the day, and we did like this life insurance thing together. But
oh, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah,
I like him.
Gary's funny. I've known him for a while, but yeah, I bought $600 worth of XRP from Gary back in probably 2018, I think. But
hasn't that done pretty well?
Yeah,
XRP?
I mean, when I bought that from him, it was probably less than 20 cents a coin, and now it's up to $2.50. So
yeah, I thought it was like 250 or 3. Yeah, that's one of those just like, if that does get to Bitcoin level at some point in the future, it's like you buy it, even if I buy it now at 250 and then it's 100,000 a coin. I mean, that's obviously a lot of money, right? Like, but who knows? I mean, I don't really know.
It's all a gamble. I mean, I don't know. I think whether it's crypto or some other, it's going to be digital. Everything's going to go digital. There's no reason to carry around cash. There's no reason to, and people thought it was a scam when debit cards came out. They're like, what do you mean my money's attached to this plastic card that I just swipe? I have cash. But, with AI and computers and everything, I think everything's going digital.
Yeah, for sure.
But,
well, and that thing, when the internet hit, was like the internet bubble?
Sure.
99 to 2001 or whatever.
I was born.
Yeah. So, but like there's all these companies springing up being like, oh, they're going to do this or they're going to do this. And so they got these huge valuations. So then people are investing in all these companies and 90% of them failed. So, and that's, I feel like what we're seeing now with the crypto is like, it doesn't mean the whole industry is like bad. It's just that when some new industry comes in, there's always going to be the scammers. There's going to be the fake ones. There's going to be a lot of potential. And eventually the few will win out. And the ones that are legit or,
Like you remember the NFT hype?
Yeah.
Like 99% of all those NFTs are all.
Really? Are they still down?
Yeah. I mean, there's like a few that probably held their value, like the Bored Apes and stuff like that. But everyone thought like all these NFTs they're buying were going to be like the next big thing.
Yeah. But like still like, isn't the software or the premise of NFTs is still usable? Like,
for sure. I mean, it's like, it's essentially like creating like assurance that things are legit. Like even with artwork, I think that's where NFTs will come into play. Like you just bought a new piece of art. What's to say that like someone couldn't just copy that, and duplicate that piece of art? Well, like with an NFT, basically it's a tokenized asset is what they call it, where you can check the code on it basically that verifies that, yes, this is the legit, item. Even with like shoes, like fake shoes, like in the designer industry, like, fake Jordans or fake Dior's, like that's a big problem. If they were all NFTs where there was a barcode on the tongue of the shoe that you scan, that when you scan it, it says, yep, this is legit. Like that's a very logical like application of NFT software.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, all the random monkey picture arts that people were buying for like millions of dollars was just kind of silly. But.
Yeah, that is wild. Yeah, Cinda has the thing about using NFTs for what is it? Ticket sales. Yeah. So for verification, and so like, exactly this is a legit ticket.
I think it's going to play a big role too with the rise of AI, where like these videos are coming out of like,
oh, you could actually have an NFT on a video
to verify. Cause like with AI, people are making these videos of celebrities and politicians of them saying stuff that are completely not real. It's completely AI. So I think that's where when you go onto Twitter and you watch a video of, X celebrity saying X, it'll be an NFT'd video that says, yes, this is actually the legit video. And that way, it's not, AI
that's
or
smart.
whatever. But the ticket sales is huge. You're not getting scammed. So, I mean, blockchain, it's definitely applicable for sure.
Right.
You just have to sort through all the bullshit of, the smoke and mirrors and stuff like that. But
I was watching some guy today who was talking about how like he's like in the future, he's like the only two things that'll matter. I know he was selling something, but he's like, is AI automation or personal branding. And he's like, I'm focused on both, but he's like, if you're not working on AI automation, like your skill sets are eventually going to get automated out. So you got to be the person who's helping other people with that, or have a personal brand that you're building, which is kind of crazy.
It's true. I mean, AI, I don't remember what podcast I was listening to, but they're saying AI will eventually replace like customer service jobs or like, like call center jobs because, AI doesn't come to work with a bad mood or doesn't have bad days or doesn't like forget things. Like, I think it's kind of scary to see, kind of scary to think about where we're going to go. But I think the biggest thing is just being able to adapt. I mean,
yeah,
you
it's
know?
gonna be wild. The with the voice stuff, my sister was saying, she's just like, well, I think what our family needs to get a safe word, and it actually kind of makes sense, even though it's a little like it is a little fear mongery, but I think it'll actually end up happening is like when you can replicate, like if you can replicate my voice and then you call my dad from my number and like, hey dad, like I'm in a lot of trouble, this.
Right.
And all of a sudden my dad's like, oh, well, like, do you need some money? And then he sends money to me, but it's not me,
Just
you know,
AI,
and it's just,
yeah.
and it's just AI voices on the phone. And, you know, so like with like, that girl that scammed that guy, it's like, well, they don't even have a phone call, but at some point they can. I mean, like they could do like, because AI is so good, they can do a Skype call. You know, it's like, no, I'm legit. You know, here I am. You know, and it's just like, okay, you know, I trust you. So creating that level of trust for a video, when it's just all AI chatbot or whatever.
A safe word for your family. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So that way you're just like, okay, well, what's the safe word we all agreed on?
Yeah.
And then they're like, wait, what?
We gotta put all of our phones away, meet in a room together, and agree on this safe word so no one can hear it.
But yeah, because I mean that kind of shit is, I don't know. Did you watch The Beekeeper?
No.
Oh fuck, dude! It's like, it's a Jason Statham like Wreck-'em movie, but basically this lady gets a pop up on her computer that's like, it's not working, or in her accounts, and so it's like, oh, call the number, and so she's calling the scam place, and they're like, oh yeah, we can. Oh yeah, it sounds like your computer has this malware. You know, we can take care of this for you. But like they inevitably get her to give them the password for all her accounts, and she has all this money, and they just fucking wipe her. But
that's a new movie.
It's pretty new.
Okay.
The last couple of years, it's pretty good. And then this lady is Jason Statham's landlord or whatever. She's super sweet.
Gotcha.
He's just a beekeeper. But then she ends up like killing herself because she lost all her money, and it was like for this charity or something. And so he just goes ape shit on everybody. But yeah, it's just like the scams are so, like, they're getting so intense. And especially with AI, when you can replicate somebody's voice, you can replicate even on video and stuff. It's like, yeah, I mean, and maybe I would know, but my dad's not going to know. You know, like older people are definitely like, they can't see the little isms of like technology.
Well, we're barely at the beginning of AI. Like, it's only going to get better and better and better. Like, I've already seen like the comedy, like, when it's used for comedy, it's one thing, but yeah, there's always that malintended side of the world that's going to use it for their own gain. But like, I saw, you know, an AI video of Patrick Mahomes after the Super Bowl saying like, the Eagles out there completely owned me. Like, Jalen Hurts is my daddy, and like all this stuff. And like, obviously it's funny, but it looked legit. Like, it looked like he was actually saying this stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's only going to get better and harder to decipher whether it's legit or not. So.
Rogan says they use him all the time to do ads, and I've seen some of them. I'm like, I don't think he's saying that.
Oh, and for different random products.
But like they'll put him, or sometimes they'll just steal some of his clips, and then it won't actually be seen, or you see him behind the microphone, and then it'll have his voice being like, oh yeah, this product is just amazing for this and this, and it'll catch a couple of his glimpses. Or they could, at this point, make his lips say the thing. Right. Yeah, and so then he's just sitting on a podcast with some random guest talking about how good the product is, even though he never said that. And they just take it and then they blast out ads. I'm like, oh, Rogan loves the product?
I'll better buy it too.
Yeah, dude. That's why he's like, this. It happens all the time. There's too many for me to chase down and try to, you know, do cease and desist.
Yeah.
Cease and assist?
Cease and desist. Yep. I've gotten one of those before.
Oh, really?
Just at the sticker shop we made, I don't know if you know, like Snap-on tools.
Yeah.
They're like a tool truck that comes to your shop and sells you tools. Well, we made a sticker that said, instead of Snap-on, it was their logo that said Strap-on, and it had a big dick in the logo. It was just a joke, and we were selling them on like Facebook Marketplace, and they didn't like that, so they sent us a cease and desist.
Dude, I wonder if you could. Yeah, I wonder if you could actually fight that and get away with it. You're like, no, I'm not using. This is Strap-on.
Strap-on. It's not Snap-on. Yeah,
you just changed one little thing about the logo.
It was Strap-on with a dick inside like the curve of the S. It looked like a dick, and then the logo was bending mechanics over since 1965 or whatever. And we had the stickers up. I don't know how or who even like reported it, but we had the stickers up on Facebook for probably like a week, and then we got a cease and desist letter in the mail. Yep.
Dude, my friend Lorena, she works for a company that does like scouring the internet for those kind of like rip-off stuff.
Sure.
She actually worked for one of her contracts was for White Claw.
Oh.
And so then she scours stuff for if somebody uses the wave or whatever. And she it was like Granny's or one of the bars downtown was using that wave for something. Really? And she like went in, she's just like, oh, I laid on the log. She's just like, so if you guys want to be paying this and this and this, you know, and because people just don't realize like how much in trouble I guess they can get but that was like her job was to go police these kind of things. I was like, interesting.
Yep. The copyright stuff, they don't mess around sometimes. I had one of my customers, he's in the arcade game, like arcade machine industry. And this was in like 2010, he said, but he was selling arcade machines and he had a pirated version of like Nintendo, like Mario and stuff. He wasn't buying it from actual Nintendo. And he was doing it for like 10 years, no issues with it. And then he got hit with like 8 different felonies for some sort of copyright infringement on Nintendo. And they like FBI raided his house, like shut down his bank accounts. Like he did prison time for copywriting Mario video games on these arcade machines. But just something you would never think like, oh, there's no way I could do federal prison time for this.
Yeah.
And then, sure enough.
Was it because he was selling it too?
Yeah, he's making money off of it. So,
holy shit.
He wasn't doing it the legit way. He bought some little booter that could play like, 60 different Nintendo games off of it, but it wasn't Nintendo verified or whatever.
Right.
Yep.
Damn. Didn't you guys go to an arcade last night? Where was that?
Oh, we were at not Chuck E. Cheese. What's the other one? Pojo's. We were at Pojo's. That was for Kiara's nephew's 5th birthday. Yeah, we were at Pojo's.
Pojo's is like more geared towards kids versus like Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, for sure. It's like super. Yeah, they have like bumper cars, but yeah, lots of arcade games and pizza and everything. But
I don't think I've ever been there.
It was stinky in there.
Was it?
As soon as we walked in, I was just like, it was musty and sweaty.
Oh, I want to go down to Realms. That's like they're newer. It's kind of like the new Space Bar because Space Bar doesn't exist anymore.
Not at all, huh?
But yeah, they closed down. But Realms is all ages, which is a little annoying. But they still have a bar that has beer and wine and like canned cocktails.
Dang, I didn't know Space Bar shut down. That's sad.
Yeah,
that's such a cool bar.
That was I had actually Julie on a couple back. She was like the main manager there.
Oh, really?
And she was talking about why there was like that. There were like one of the owners was being a creep with her and like fell in love with her. It was like and then couldn't keep it separate and then like fired her and her she's like wanted to start dating her friend that worked there and then he's just like freaked out about it.
Got messy.
And so then she's like, I'm quitting. And so she made a public like statement on Instagram and was like, I'm out. And then like all of the employees quit and he's just like, fuck it, I can do it my own. And it went to the ground and like 6 months later it was closed. Like it was so I was like
they moved to that other spot and then that was such a cool bar. But
it was.
You never know what's going on behind the scenes,
Yeah, but it was like he couldn't swallow his own ego, and then lost everybody. Probably couldn't replace people because everybody knew what happened, kind of.
Yeah.
And then shut down like 6 months later. But Realms it seems pretty cool. I went in there once, but they do have like it's like $10 or $20, so it's all you can play.
Oh yeah.
So instead of playing by quarters, it's just like, oh yeah, you just come in and you just play as long as you want. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I just haven't been to actually do it.
Yeah, we had 2 birthday parties yesterday. We had that one and then
you got one today too.
Yep, for my cousin.
Damn, you got a lot of birthdays.
A lot of birthday parties coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, this one will be not a kid's birthday party, so it'll be a little more.
Some adult entertainment.
Some adulting, yeah. We're going to just Payette Brewing, so we'll get some brews and some food, but
you're going to Payette? I think you're going to Voodoo.
Or Voodoo.
Voodoo, yeah.
Yeah, Voodoo, not Payette.
Yeah. Payette's pretty popping in the summer. Down by the river and shit.
Yeah, we went there. Me and Riley were there 2 nights ago for one of my roommates, Jake. He's only been with us for like 8 months. He works at BSU as well. He just got a job at UCLA
Oh wow.
As doing like stadium maintenance manager or something like that. But
Yeah.
so he's moving out. So we did a going away party at Payette the other night for him. But
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. They have this where they play cornhole, you know, in the back at Payette. They have this red fence, and I think it was like a year and a half ago. I sat down on that fence and snapped the fence.
Oh shit.
And when we were there the other night, it's still broken. I haven't
no
even
way.
fixed it yet. And we got there. I was like, dude, I broke that.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
Are you gonna fill the spot before you move out? Or,
No,
that's
I think,
coming up, right?
Yeah. Well, Jake's actually, so Jake moves out on this coming Tuesday in 3 days. Our lease doesn't end until May 31st.
Okay.
But what we're going to do is kind of convert that to my office, because when we have the baby, I'm going to have to be home for probably a week or two. And so I'm going to kind of put my computer stuff in there. And what I decided is, because customers are walking into our shop all day long. And so what I decided is I'm going to have it set up to where if they need to talk to me, they can come into my office at work, sit down. I'll have a webcam and a microphone where they can either Zoom or Discord call.
Mhm.
And then I'll be in the office at home, and it'll be a video conference chat with them. Just so my employees don't have to like deal with that. So I'm going to be like a little AI computer robot where they can come in and talk to me. But yeah, so he moves out on Tuesday, and we'll kind of convert that to my office for a little while.
So that'll be a couple months for that.
Yeah.
That's dope though, because then you won't be dealing with that guy showing you TikToks or, just that kind of shit. Cause it's like, you're only going to come in and sit down if you really need to talk to you, and then jump on the Zoom. So it's going to be important. And then you're not going to have near as many distractions on that end.
Yeah.
You just have the baby distraction.
Right. Yeah, it'll be nice because, luckily she doesn't work, so she'll be able to handle most of that. But
yeah.
I'm sure the sleepless nights are definitely ahead,
Oh, you've done those before, though.
Oh, yeah. I won't be new to that. That's definitely true.
Fuck, man. I do so poorly on no sleep or even low sleep. Like, if I go 6 hours instead of 8, I'm like, already irritable in the day, and if I do that 2 days in a row, I'm like, I
definitely can't do it like I used to. And I think you'll probably, I don't know, can you talk about your TRT at all? But yeah,
I'll talk about it, whatever.
Yeah. Since you just started TRT, I think that will be like you'll have so much more energy. Like back when I was doing the sleepless nights, there was some of that. So I remember days where I would not sleep at all and just go to work. And
because you're streaming like all night.
Yeah, when I was doing like my TikTok stream, and I'd stream all night, and then 6 o'clock would roll around. I'd take a shower, do a cold shower, and be to work by 7:30, and just.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Did you get when you were doing that, because you're making music? Yeah. Was you and Riley or just you?
Mainly me, but Riley would make appearances in the streams pretty often.
So did you feel like you got a lot of success, or like the numbers going up?
I made like a few $100s, over the course. I only streamed consistently for like probably a month or two.
Okay.
But in that course of time, I went from making no money on doing it to like I was making like $40-$50 a night every time I'd stream, which adds up over time. But definitely, I think I took like my TikTok. I think I took it from like 9,000 followers to 10,000 in like the course of 2 months.
Okay.
And I was getting really good feedback, because I am good at just like naturally entertaining people and just like riffing and just like feeding off of the comments. And I was making music or doing music reviews a lot of the time too, where viewers would send in their music and I would listen to it, and it was cool. I felt like like you see the streamers on Twitch today that just like develop true, genuine like relationships with their viewers. And there were like a handful of like probably 30 to 50 people that like tuned in every night and like were like waiting. Even now, like I haven't streamed in probably over a year, and I still have like a server on Discord where people will every once in a while like, dude, when are you going to stream next time? When are you going to stream next time? But
interesting.
Life gets away from you. But yeah, I feel like if I did that consistently, it would definitely be, like people, I never thought like random strangers online would just send me money. Like they would just donate like $10, $5.
Yeah.
Just for,
and they do that on TikTok too, not just Twitch.
Yep. On TikTok. Yep.
TikTok
was hard because like very soft. I got banned. I couldn't stay unbanned on TikTok. Like once
Twitch isn't like that, right?
No. Once I literally said, I don't remember what happened. I didn't make any sort of like homophobic slur. All I said, my computer like froze, and I said, that's gay. Like, oh, this is so gay. It's just something I would just say. And then 7-day ban.
That's
Couldn't
so
stream for
dumb.
7 days. And then another time I got banned, which I'm half Filipino. I was making some stereotypical Filipino jokes, like just saying, oh, like if you ever go to a Filipino's house, you're never gonna leave hungry. Like, and I was just saying like, oh, and I can say that because I'm Filipino. Got banned for some sort of racial whatever.
God.
I'm like, dude, I'm Filipino. I can talk about like Filipino stereotypes, but yeah, it's tough on TikTok. I think Twitch would be cool, but I think TikTok's the easiest because that algorithm, there's ways to just, I mean, we'd go randomly some nights from like having 5 viewers to like 400 in there. Just that TikTok algorithm randomly will like feed your stream to like to people. So it happens quick.
Yeah,
but.
I've been wondering. So with the YouTube live.
Oh yeah, we were on your live yesterday.
No, yeah, that's cool. I didn't even realize it was you first.
Yeah, the Rygar, that's me. Yeah. That Mark guy was talking shit, so I was in there.
Oh, dude, so I had been doing live streams. So that was one of my 75 hard things that I wanted to do. So I've been doing it every day. But I was using my Sony and streaming through a capture card and then plugging it through OBS and. It's great, and every once in a while I'd get somebody on there, but hardly ever. And then when I went down to Scottsdale this last time, I like was just like, I'll just do it on my phone, and I got all these views like right away. I was like, oh fuck! And I was like, wonder what's different about the phone, but it's because because when people are scrolling reels, they put the vertical streams in the reels, but they don't put the horizontal one. So if you're only horizontal, you're not going to go into the feed.
Not catch like random viewers.
Right. So that helped a lot. So I actually I figured out a way, or I saw a YouTube video where you can do both vertical and horizontal at the same time through OBS. So I want to try that because the problem is I just like when I'm looking at the chatters, like, they distract me. I can't keep my focus on what I'm talking about. And I don't mind, like I want to be able to see it some. So then if I can see it at the computer once I'm done with the thought, then I could like look over and see.
Read the chat.
But like by seeing like the time and seeing the chats, it's a fuck, dude. I cannot stay focused.
Yep.
So I gotta figure that out. But I was curious to see, like we were talking about, like why don't I stream my process of recording music and stuff? And I wonder if that would be too distracting to me though, if there's a lot of chat, or I wonder if it would help. I don't know.
I think when I was doing it, when I was making music, I think it helped because like people, especially when you're doing music, people would like throw you ideas, or like when I was trying to make lyrics, people would throw you like lyric ideas. But for me, it was really easy to just like, when I was like making the beat focus, and then like every once in a while I'd go back and like check the chat and kind of see what they were saying, but then just, lock back in when I needed to. But yeah, I think so.
My buddy Brock, he plays for Magic Sword.
Oh, okay.
And when he's home, his main source of income is using the Magic Sword channel on Twitch, and he plays guitar for a couple hours a day.
Yep.
And I should just ask him. Maybe I'll just like try to go view it or something, because I'm like, I don't know exactly what he does.
Yeah.
If he's just playing song requests, if he's just noodling, if he like whatever. But he's like, that pays all his bills when he's in town, and then he goes on tour, with them, and that's what pays his bills. So like he's full-time music doing that stuff, and like, I mean, I was just curious because that's encouraging. Yeah, it's only $50 a night, but that's only the month, it's just like if you continue to build that, all of a sudden it's $200 a night.
More consistent.
That's enough money for me to live on,
right?
And so
one more P-bake.
Yeah. Yeah, I just was curious kind of about some of this stuff. I guess I'll just to wrap it up, but I was like, so I'm making music again, and I haven't made music, I mean, we made a little bit, but like consistently since, when I was in my 20s. I think I might have quit at like 31. No, it might have been 30. I forget when the band disbanded. I'd have to like go back and look. Yeah. But regardless, it was just like nothing after that for ages. And so it's just like, fuck, dude, I think my 40s might be like a lot of music again.
Yeah.
But like I know so much more, not necessarily about music, but but more about social media. I mean, social media wasn't on my radar 10 years ago. I mean, I used Facebook for friends.
The thought of making money on it was like, make money on social media.
And I mean, when I was in my 20s, I knew that you could make money on YouTube if you got a song to pop off or something, or like there's this one band. Have you ever heard of Boyce Avenue?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would listen to those
Yeah,
guys, and I could tell, oh, they're hitting these covers, they're getting lots of views. I'm sure they're making some money.
Like Boyson Avenue and like Pentatonics
Yeah.
and like Anthem Lights.
Mhm.
We're kind of like, in that
So
same
they had
area.
hacked, or they just found a good niche of, okay, we make these covers and stuff. And so I had like tried my hand once or twice. With this one, I was like really just barely make any songs. So I have a couple songs that are really terrible.
I noticed on your YouTube channel,
Live.
your most viewed videos, if you sort it by popular, it's your music ones.
Oh, really? Yeah, because they're probably the longest.
Yeah,
and there was a while where, I'm like, oh, I could do some of these if I can get as big as Boyce Avenue, but I wasn't nearly as good, whatever. But but like now, like there's so much more opportunity. There's like more people on it too, but it's like I know a little bit more about how to do stuff, and obviously there's a lot to learn, but I definitely want to focus more on not just making a song, sitting on it for 5 years and finally putting it out, like actually spending the time to put like little clips of you making it. There's a guy I follow on Instagram. Once he has a song done, he does, instead of like one music video, he does lots of like videos just of him singing his chorus in different environments.
Yeah.
And, if you do 10 different versions, like one of them might pop, but now that one pops and it's like all the same chorus. So it's all this promotion on that song.
Yeah.
And he's just getting like huge, and it's all through Instagram.
It's that short form content too. I mean, that's the nice part. Like I was telling you earlier, if you stream your process on TikTok, it records it as well. So then you can go back and clip it up and then encourage people to go to your live. It's like, oh, these kind of funny moments are going to happen while he's making music. So, I want to tune in next time he goes live. But, I mean, I think it's cool to be able to, like, if it's something you're already doing, like making music, why not just, stream it or whatever? It's like, I've been seeing on TikTok a lot of, live streams of people wrapping cars.
Yeah.
So that's got me thinking too. I think it'd be cool to just set up a camera out there, live stream my guys when they're like wrapping a car.
Yeah.
And it doesn't,
I think you could do that. And then also, like, if there's chat, if the chat comes into your computer and you're working there, you could still respond to questions.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, this is what they're doing there. So that way they're not distracted by it.
Yeah. That was the thing. I was like, I don't need my guys talking with the chat all day long, because then nothing's gonna get done. You know what I mean?
Do they talk with each other a lot though?
Yeah.
Or are they all like in the zone?
They're pretty good. I mean, we've got one employee that talks a little more than he should. He's one of those like random fact of the day guys, where he'll just come in and be like, "Did you guys know that?" And then talk about some Civil War, Revolutionary War history fact. And he's also one of the guys that can't talk and work at the same time. Yeah. The other 2 or 3 are pretty good at, like, they can talk and keep working, but this guy, do you guys know? And just has to stop working for like 10 minutes.
Dude, what if you start streaming though, and he ends up being the guy who like everybody's tuning in for?
Right. They're like, wait, we got to hear what the
and then all of a sudden he's making you a ton of money, and you're like, oh fuck, we thought he was our weakest link.
Right. Yep. It's those personalities, man. I mean, sometimes you never know. But the streaming stuff is just, I mean, it's crazy how far streaming's the new like YouTube now. Like, it's not like, for the younger generation, it's not YouTubers that are cool anymore. It's streamers now. It's like, like Speed and like Kai Cenat.
I don't know any of these people.
No, but it's like these guys, Speed will turn on his camera and stream and pull 70 to 100,000 viewers at a time. Yeah. Just people watching him.
What's he do?
He does like world tours.
Games?
No. Like sometimes they'll play video games, but Speed, he'll go like country to country and just like explore the world and just go.
So he just has
just IRL streaming is basically like the new
IRL is in real life.
Yep, in real life.
But like, does he hold his camera? Or does
he has a camera guy that follows him.
Yeah, but you would probably start with
start on your own. But
that's dope.
It's just a whole different ball game. Like there's kind of like a adrenaline factor to it too, because with YouTube you can film the video, cut out the parts that messed up, edit and portray yourself exactly how you want to be. Yeah. But with streaming, that's raw and live at all times. Like you can't. There's not like room for error, and that's why his stream name is I Show Speed. And there's a little era where everyone was calling him I Show Meat, because on stream he accidentally showed his dick once. Some wardrobe malfunction or whatever, and that's just one of those things where it's like you can't cut that out. Yeah. If it happens, it happens. Right. So, they were calling him I Show Meat.
That's funny. I wanted to do, I mean, I still kind of do, is if I had enough money to pay somebody to film me and like film me at all times, be mic'd up, and like just with my friends or whatever, because it's like there's so many clippable moments.
Yep.
And then have them, you know, like anytime something funny happens, be like clip, you know,
Yep.
and then so they knew where to grab it. They then edit it and put these clips out all the time. And I was like, man, if I did this for a year, you know, I'd have to be making enough money at some point. But I'm like, oh yeah, you could just stream the whole thing instead of just clipping. I was just like, no, stay streaming the whole time.
See, and I think that's what's interesting too. And that, as we're just talking about that right now, that made me immediately start thinking that like like I was saying, we want to do a vlog once we have our baby. Like if we just turned on a TikTok stream, I bet people would just come in and just like ask us questions. It's like if you have a personality, like people just, I don't know what it is about watching someone live, but people just find it so like engaging and entertaining.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, I think of, you know, as at the bar, you know, I'm pretty entertaining, and people, you know, yeah, you come for a social aspect and all this stuff, but at the same time, it's like sometimes people sit there.
Yeah.
Rude.
Okay.
Dope.
We're pretty close to done.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll wrap this up. But yeah, so like, what was I saying? Oh yeah, like if I go to a bar by myself, it's like, dude, I'm watching the bartender. You know, like they're entertaining, and it's
So you
just
should
like
stream while you bartend. If you ever thought about
Severo
that.
actually, Severo told me that too.
Really?
But I was like, I'd have to figure out. One of the things is like, if I could set up a camera, I could stream myself, but like I don't know how it would follow me from one side to the other, or I just have it along the bar, so I'm either further away or closer.
Right.
I could be mic'd, but then it's like you would never hear what the other people say. So I don't know how you, like, it's a loud environment,
That's
lots
true.
of people talking. So like, how do you get that? Like Severo was saying, is like, oh, he's like, I watched this one video where it's like a guy had a POV.
Oh yeah.
And he had a microphone here or something. So he must have like the meta glasses maybe streaming. That might be interesting, because then he's like, you could see him making drinks, and he's like looking at his stuff, and you'd see him making the drinks. And then you'd also see him talking to a guest. So maybe if you did, because the meta glasses are sick.
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
Yeah. You can record right on.
Rob has those. And we tried them out. I'm like, dude, it looks good.
Yeah, it has good quality. I have one customer. What's his name? 84 Locksmith. After like I-84, he's here based out of Idaho. He has like almost 2 million followers on TikTok. And he just records. I think he uses a head strap or a chest strap, but he just records his interactions of showing up to people. He's a locksmith and unlocking their cars or houses or whatever. And some of the interactions just are funny, or, you know,
does he have to get permission from each person?
Yeah,
or?
so he does. So sometimes the faces will be blurred in some of his videos, but he basically at the end just lets them know, hey, like I have a TikTok page. Like if you want to be on it, you know, you will, or if you don't, I can blur your face. But it's just those like, I don't know what it is.
So he's
about.
not doing live then, he's re-uploading.
Yeah, he's just re-uploading video, but I think same concept. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, then I wonder if the meta ones would be good for streaming. If you could snap from the camera shooting you to then shooting what you're looking at.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess that would be the same as just screen grabbing.
Right.
You know, if you're just interesting.
No, I
That
think
is something to think about.
I think it would be cool watching just someone bartend.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you could just... Yeah, because I mean, I would have to ask all my guests if they would want to be... Like, that would be
Right, and then you might,
really tough.
The bar might be like, why are you telling our customers? Or
Yeah, I don't think they would want me to do it, actually. But
just open our own bar.
Right, yeah. Dude, what if the whole brand of the bar was something about live streaming?
It's live. Like when you come in, you're on live somewhere.
Yeah, the bar's just called It's Live.
I like that. It's live.
Dude, so it's just like, and then on the door, it's just like when you step, everything's streaming live. You know, like right on the door.
Right.
Oh, that's good.
That's a cool idea. I like that.
And then like all of your bartenders are streaming like to the platforms.
Because then it'd be like, you'd get that edge where like, who's going to get too drunk tonight and like do some dumb shit on live. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. It's live.
It's live. Yeah. I don't ever want to run a bar, but that would be
right.
Fuck, man. There's so much opportunity now with the internet. It's like with how far it's gone. It's just like, dude, you literally can do any task live and people will be interested in. Like you'll find the niche of people. It's like if you like knitting, I mean, you literally can sit there and knit. And you would find people that find it fascinating, and people that find it cathartic to watch these videos.
Even like the ASMR guys, like there's I've seen on TikTok, there's girls and guys that'll sit in front of a mic and just make mouth noises and just like tap on the mic.
Yeah, what is
and like
that?
people
ASMR.
watch it. Yeah, I don't know what it stands for. It's just
I'd heard of it, and I didn't even know
ASMR
what it was.
is all it's sound. So it's
Okay.
like if like people do ASMR food videos where it's them eating and the mic's right here so you can hear them crunching and chewing and swallowing.
And people love it.
People just like it. I don't know what sort of thing it is. There's one guy called, Burger Belly Boy or something. And he has to be like catering towards like, I don't know what sort of audience would tune into it, but he literally sits there and just like, he has like kids' toys and he'll like hit them on his head and just like hum and make noises and just like, so I don't know what sort of audience that cater toward, but just something about like those raw human like interactions. I don't know.
I wonder if it's because a lot of people are so starved of that. You know, like it's a more lonely, like cultures
so.
are becoming more
Yeah.
lonely in general. And so people miss those. And so then they seek them out online.
Yep.
And there's like certain things I'm like, that seems silly, but if people like it, by all means, it's not what I want to do.
Right.
But
Right.
like you said, but I could just be doing the music stuff or whatever. Yeah, I'll have to look more into that. I definitely want to do things so differently this time around, like playing music and just figuring out how I love, I mean, even with the podcast, I love leaning into like raw authenticity. You know, I feel like the polished, you know, like, oh, I'm perfect individual. Like that shit's dead. You know, it's like nobody wants to, like they want to get to know somebody as who they truly are with the fuck ups and with the just all the raw and realness of it, even if your meat falls out.
Right. 100%. Yep.
Yeah. Sweet, dude. You want to plug? Well, we plugged the podcast. The sticker status.
Yeah. Sticker status. If you need your car wrapped, come see us.
Actually come see me and then I'll send it over to Ryan because then I get a $500.
Yep. Right. Get a little referral bonus. If you want to get into crypto and you don't want to get scammed, you can check out Idaho Crypto Group on YouTube.
Yeah.
My music career has been pretty dead lately since I've been so busy, but if you do want to watch us goof around on music, I have TikTok, Treetop Clements, and soon enough you'll see us on there.
Yeah, dude.
We'll be doing more music stuff, but
we get it. We gotta finish some shit
at
some point.
We do.
Sweet, man. That's a wrap.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Love you, man.
You as well.
Nobodies.